Hello and welcome to section 3. This is the Pokemon Go clone. So what it is that we're going to be covering in this section is a couple of different things. Getting the trainer to show on the screen, this isn't going to be that much of a big deal. But the next two, these are really big features that we're going to add, particularly catching Pokemon. So checking to see, is the Pokemon within range? Getting the screen to, zoom into the correct spot. All of this we need to check out and see if it's ready to go. And if so, we need to update our Pokemon and core data to say whether they're caught or not. And if they're not in range, we need to display a message to the user. And then the last step is filling out the Pokédex, saying, okay, these ones have been caught, these ones have not, so that when the user's going around, they can keep an eye out and see, oh, look, there's a Snorlax. I don't have a Snorlax yet. I should go out and grab that. Okay? So we're going to start off with the trainer. Big thing that we're doing here is displaying the trainer on the screen. Like I said, not too much work that we're going to have to do here, but we'll get our trainer displayed and then start getting into the idea that, how do we handle it when someone taps on a Pokemon or any annotation on a map moving forward. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so we're making some really good progress on the app. As you can see, we got all sorts of Pokemon showing up here on the screen. Pretty great. The big thing that I want to work on now is we've completely lost track of the trainer. We can still center where our actual location is, but we've lost that big blue glowing dot, and we actually want to replace it with something else entirely, and that's that we want to replace it with a picture of the Pokemon trainer. I think this adds a little bit of life to the app. Now this is up to you. Maybe you think it looks better having that kind of glowing dot, that users are going to be more familiar with that. Up to you, but I think this kind of helps add to the idea that this is a game that we're creating and that users should be having a good time with this. So first thing that we need is an image of a Pokemon trainer. So if we go ahead and look through these images that we have, I believe it's down with the name trainer. As soon as you say that, they don't show up. So let's see. I know we've got something that can represent a trainer here. So let's see. Lure, Lucky, Player. Here we go. Player 1 and just Player. So you can choose whether you want Pokemon Bro here with the half brim, or who's the girl in Pokemon that's got the red hair? Misty Pigtails. Let's go with Misty Pigtails here at Player 1. But anyways, you choose a trainer, any kind of image obviously that you want. But let's go ahead and bring this into the app. Bring in Misty here. Okay. And then we're going to come back to our map view controller. And remember, we sort of left things last time a little bit ambiguous right here, that we were saying, hey, if it's the annotation for the MK user location, what's actually happening is we're returning this view that we created with nothing inside of it. And so that's why this actually shows up blank, that there's nothing there. And holy cow, we got a lot of Pokemon showing up. Anyways, so we've got to write the code in order to go fix this. So first thing that we want to do is get access to the image and put it inside of the annotation. So we're going to get our anno view that we've created, and we want to set its image to be equal to a brand new UI image, very similarly like to what we've done here. And when we say named, this time we're just going to provide a straight up string. So we've got to go back and grab the name of our player, player-1. Just go ahead and copy that and paste that right in there. Okay, so we've appropriately set the image. We want to make sure that it has the correct size. And we're going to make it 50 just like what we have here below. So this is actually a great opportunity for us to save some code. And so what I'm going to do is just copy and paste all this code where we get the frame and whatnot. I'm going to cut that. And down here below, I'll just paste that. So in either situation, we're making this, the size of this to be 50 by 50. And that'll save us some nice code there. Great. So really all that it is we're saying, if it's the user, use an image called player 1. And if it's a Pokemon, get whatever Pokemon that is, get their image. Where I'm going to have to do some unwrapping here, but ultimately put that into the image. So let's go ahead and check, make sure that this works. Okay, we'll run this on our simulator. And we'll wait for this to pop up. And boom, look at that. We've got our cool little Pokemon trainer here, and let's go ahead and have our trainer move around. I'm going to go to debug, and I'm going to say let's do a city bicycle ride. So we can go ahead and follow our trainer here. Look at that, they're moving around the Apple campus just a little bit. We can always, hit this button and update. Now, one thing that I would like to point out, I had talked about this earlier, we've got a bit of an issue. You can see Pokemon are added always two at a time, kind of in succession. And that's an issue for us. We want to make sure that one is only showing up every 5 seconds. So we got to go into a little bit of debugging here. And I thought rather than just do this myself, I thought it'd be interesting for you to just see the path that I'm going to follow to try and figure out what this bug is. And the big thing is I just want to figure out when is setup being called, because, that's sort of the big, I assume that's what's going on, is that this timer has been scheduled twice, and that's what's going on. So we'll see if my assumption's correct. I think we're only calling setup in two places. I'm going to do a Command F to search for setup inside of this view control, and look, here's the only three places it appears. There's the function setup and then these two places where I'm calling it. So I'm going to click on line 36 and line 28 in my code to say that I want a breakpoint. This will stop the code at those two different points. So let's go ahead and run this and see if this doesn't give us a clue. So we get the app to open up, and here we see, okay, authorized when in use. This is equal to there, so it goes ahead and it calls that. And we're also getting an update here to tell us about, when the authorization status changed. And so because of this, this is telling me that even if we do have permission to use this, that this function's getting called again. So what we need to do is just not have to worry, not worry about this anymore. Instead, we're going to change this to say, if the authorization status is not equal to this authorized when in use, then we're simply going to call this right here. And then we don't even have to have an else situation, because it looks like this did change authorization status is being called regardless. And we'll go ahead and test that, theory now. Let's go ahead and hit run. App opens up. And we've got our trainer here. Let's see if we get some Pokemon added every 5 seconds. And look, there's a Pikachu. We only had one added. Looks like we're still going on our bike ride there. There's our Caterpie. We can zoom in, and great stuff. The next step for us now is that, we've got the Pokemon appearing, we've got the trainer showing up. We want to make it so that when we tap on one of these Pokemon, checks to see if we're close enough to catch it, and if so, does the appropriate code for, updating everything. And I'll just tell you now, this is going to be a lot of code that we're going to have to run through. This is the last major feature. I mean, still a big one from here is when, we hit the little Pokeball here. We want to fill in the Pokeball data, but you'll find that actually will come through quite quickly for us. So for right now, let's go ahead and start working on that functionality to say, hey, if someone taps on one of these annotations, we want to do something about it. And so let's go ahead and start writing this code. I'm going to get ourselves full screen here so we have enough space to work with. And I'm going to do it just above this map view for annotation. And again, this is going to be the code that's written for when someone taps on one of these annotations. So the name of the function is did select view, which is going to be an annotation view. So if we do did select view, look at that. We want the map view, did select view, but make sure that we've got the one that gives annotation view. And this is big. Make sure it's did select, not did deselect. This happens with table views all the time. Make sure you're grabbing did select. Okay. So we've got the did select view here. So this is basically saying, hey, someone tapped on one of these annotations. What do you want to do about it? Well, the first thing I think that we should do is do the same check that we did basically down here where we said, hey, is this, the user location, meaning is this the user that I'm dealing with? And so we can actually just go ahead and copy this. It's going to be a little bit different because it's not called annotation here. In this case, it's view, but we're going to say if view, and then we're going to say is mk user location. Then we're going to basically say, that we don't want to do anything. And so we can say basically here, this is the user. Okay. And then we'll have an else situation here that basically wraps from here. And let's see, I don't think this is particularly we need to say, because this is annotation, we need to say view.annotation. All right. So anyways, if you wanted to, you could update some code here. In fact, maybe a fun thing to do would be to center the user. So we could, call this centered tapped, for instance. So we could call, center tapped here, and we've got to throw something inside of here. So I'm just going to put in a empty string that just says hello or something like that. And let's go ahead and give this a test and see if that works. So give this app the old try. There we go, build succeeded. And with this, we'll go ahead and give it a moment. All right, so let's say we move the map around here. Look, there's a Pokemon nearby, and let's tap on our user. Look at that, it's centered them. So watch as the user gets closer and closer to the edge, I'm gonna tap on them, and boom, look, it centers. So anyways, you don't have to add that functionality. I just think it's kind of, cool to say, hey, you can write some code if you want something to happen there.